All right, how you guys doing today? About to hop into a react. No, Proverbs chapter 26, verse. No, not verse. Review 5. First things first, though, just make sure you like that video. You know what to do. Exit the full screen. Scroll just a little bit. Like the video. Then full screen it back up. And you feel me. All right. So we left off on verse 20. Where no wood is, there the fire goes out. No shock. So where there is no talebearer, the strife ceases. So if you are unaware of fire in that time, needed wood to burn. Without the wood, there is no fire. If there is no gossiper, slanderer, or person that seeks to tell things about others when they are not there, so there will be problem. Yo, if you know that YouTuber, yo, comment it down below, yo. I love that dude. Plus, my voice doesn't go that high, so he can keep the saying. He can keep the saying. It's okay, right? But in all seriousness, right? Just like wood needs a fire to burn, at least in this time period. It doesn't necessarily mean all problems will stop if there's no gossip or whatever the case is. But it's another testament to say that a lot of beef is caused by gossip, right? And even right now, right? I've heard some things, not about me this time, right? I've had things said about me, and that's not caused problems because I just reacted to be the bigger person. And I'll get into that a little later with another one of these verses in this chapter if we can get to it, which we really should. I think we should finish up the chapter today, right? But you get the point. Less gossip, less problems, less fire, or less wood, less fire. It may burn for a little bit, but it won't stay up, right? Because you can burn it with hay or something or paper, but it burns fast. Anyway, verse 21, as coals are to burning coals, and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. Contentious man, right? I'm gonna break this down for you a little bit, right? Let's go check out the definition for contentious so we can see what a contentious person may look like in modern terminology, right? Because I would go to the Bible definition, but they're a little outdated. Yeah. Anyway, contentious, causing or likely to cause an argument, controversiality, right? Involving a heated argument of a person given to arguing or provoking an argument. Notice, right? We got two words that stick out to me. Argument being the first one. An argument could be anything as small. An argument can start from anything, right? What an argument is like a disagreement. But the difference between an argument and a disagreement, actually no, it's a similarity. They can be on such a small scale or they can be on a really big scale. Because you could say an argument and you could have cops outside your house. You could have all that type of stuff because people think it's going to get physical, and that's still an argument. Or you can have a disagreement and have the same type of thing. Or you could be having an argument, but it's like a debate. You're arguing your point, which is still an argument. Or you could be having a disagreement and, saying it in a respectful tone like, well, I disagree. And I would like to hear why you disagree. Well, I disagree on the grounds of this, and this, in the same type of way where it could be a debate. You know what I'm saying? It could happen on the smallest possible scale with politeness still in there, but still it is an argument or disagreement nonetheless. Or it can happen on the most major scale where you got the police outside talking about we need y'all to evacuate because it's about to get crazy in here. Right. And the second word being controversial. Because controversial, it doesn't necessarily mean that like it's bad. Not all controversial things are bad, right? That's why hot takes are popular. Because the point of a hot take is to say, I disagree with this thing, right? But nobody really hates anybody for hot takes most of the time. It's most of the time just like, aha, funny, you disagree with most people on this thing, and that's like part of your personality or whatever the case is, right? But regardless, controversiality means it's controversial. Somebody, it may likely to cause up strife, right? And we can see in the similar words, disputable, debatable, disputed, contended, moot, vexed, ambient, vexed in like British slang, I believe it is. It means like you're angry, right? He was vexed, I vexed him, or whatever the case is, right? Heated, vehement, fierce, violent, intense, argumentative, quarrelsome, disputatious, I never heard that word, confrontational, defiant, hostile, fighting, battling, warring, militant, threatening, litigious, wow, probably irascible, cantankerous. What are these goofy words? Anyway, you get the point, right? Somebody who's willing to stir up arguments is going to be willing to be like coals to a burning coal, right? You introduce the burning coals to the coals, they're going to heat up. Introduce contentious man to a group of normal people, chances are there's probably gonna be some issues. I believe that Swoozie made a video about this. It's a pretty good video too, and I've referenced it, I believe, within like the last week, because it was a fresh reference that I made on the channel. I'm gonna link it down below. Heavily recommend it. If you don't know who Swoozie is, he's an animation YouTuber. Literally, I wouldn't believe the video is like that long. Hold on. All right, so we got two videos that I would really recommend on this type of topic, right? Problematic people. I'll link that below. But also the video that I wanted you guys to check out was actually taken off YouTube, or he took it down. I'm not really sure what, but there is a re-upload. That one's 7 videos long. You can see his fit, mad clean, and a thing. This one, also mad clean, right? He's a great dude. Trust. Like, I love his videos. They're great. Usually solution driven, right? I don't know if he's a Christian. At least he used to be. I don't really know the status on that too much, right? But either way, I still think we can, like we talked about on the channel before, you can turn worldly things godly, right? And advice is still advice at the end of the day. It works or it doesn't, and I think that this is good advice most of the time, or just good for identifying situations, right? Obviously, take the Bible's advice over everything, but you get the point. Verse 22, the words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly, right? What could that possibly mean? What do you mean wounds and they go down that far? Well, I don't really know why it's the word wounds when most translations say something like dainty morsels, tasty trifles, delicious morsels, dainty morsels, right? Choice morsels. Basically saying that good food, that really good, like you want that, and you know you want that because it's like up here, and you only get that like once a year, you know? So that's what rumors are like, right? We love them. You know, whether you like it or not, you love them, right? Somebody starts talking about problems, you're sitting there like, tell me more, right? Because at the end of the day, that's your friend, and they're telling you about a problem, which makes you feel good because you're a trusted source to them. So you want to keep up that appearance of being a trusted source, and you don't want to tell them, hey, sorry, I don't want to hear about that, because it sounds like gossip and like blah blah blah. Unless you got like Christian type friends, right? And then you can say something like that. But if you're like me and you like to have your worldly friends, not, you know, to be worldly, but low key, that's maybe what it is. If we're being honest, right? You want to keep good relationships with them, or just with everybody. I want to keep good relationships with anybody. Anyway, so they go down to the innermost parts of the body, just like delicious food, right? And that could be talking about they spread in the same way that delicious food is typically the unhealthier food, right? And it creates fat all over the body, kind of thing, right? It goes down. Or even as a wound, a real bad wound is going to go deep down, just like the rumors are going to go deep down. They're going to start to affect you, right? We've seen before, it's a truth in the Bible that the people you hang around are going to influence you. It's also pretty proven in like psychology and just human behavior in general, right? And if you don't believe me, look at first generation people to a different country, specifically America, right? Because that's where I am, so I can speak the most on that, right? First generation kids, they might have a little bit of an accent that their parents have, but for the most part, they're not going to have that. Why? Because they spent their whole time around people who don't have that accent, which means they assimilated and they're losing touch with their culture. Not their culture, but they're losing sense of their like national pride, I would say, or cultural pride, and having something like a thick accent when trying to speak a different language, because that's not the main thing they're around anymore. They're getting influenced by everything else they're around rather than just their parents. Anyway, verse 23. Burning lips, wicked heart are like a potsherd covered with silver dross. And what that means, potsherd is like, imagine you break a vase, pick up a random big piece of glass, that's a potsherd. Or not glass, but or ceramic or whatever, right? So burning lips, so somebody itching to say something, and an evil heart is like when you have a broken piece of glass, right? Because you're broken originally, and then covered in silver. Because we like those things, whether we like it or not, right? Our flesh yearns to be wicked, right? We have a desire for sin. All the sinful things typically make us feel good, right? At the end of the day, that's why God gives us joy for doing right, because it's like he can make us happier than sin can, in a better way than sin makes us feel good, right? Because sin always comes with that consequence. It always comes with death, whether that be a real life death, not saying somebody dies, but like the death of something in your life, but then also the death later. That's why God gives us joy to kind of cancel that out, gives us a solution, right? So we like sin, whether we like it or not. It's hard to not gossip. It really is. It really is, because when something's like messing you up, you want to talk to somebody about it. And as easy as it is to say, just pray and talk to God, it don't hit the same, because it don't feel right as somebody who knows that God is there with them. it don't feel like he's really there. He's not affirming your feelings in a moment like a friend does. He's not like right there and you're talking to him, and it sucks to say that because he is right there when you're talking to him. He just don't respond in the same way that we have with humans, right? And we get that from a young age. If you weren't raised that way, in the Swoozie video, he was talking about when I was younger, I didn't have friends, so when I got older, that's all I wanted, right? I felt that, and I didn't realize that I felt that because when I was younger, all I had was my brothers, and I look at it now, and he brings up in a thing, he's like, all these problematic people keep talking to me, and they talk about you can't follow this person, you can't follow that person, and I'm like, I agree with a lot of the mindset of like, if you get a girl, then you got to say, hey, you can't be wearing this revealing stuff, and like, this guy's bad for you, this guy's bad for you, that girl's bad for you, and I can see it, and you can't because you got the rose colored glasses on, right? And I'm like, am I the toxic person? Maybe, in a sense that, like, yeah, it's a little bit unhealthy, but also like, I don't think that stuff is healthy for a godly relationship at the end of the day, right? I don't care if brothers in Christ, let's say your brothers in Christ, right? If they plotting, they plotting. If they got lustful thoughts and they trying to get at you, and that's just bottom line what it is, right? And I thought about it, and it's like, if all I have is my brothers and those are my friends, one, it makes me want friends, and that's why I think I would try to keep the peace with everybody, right? Two, I'm very like selective in that, well, not selective, I try to keep the peace with everybody, so it's unselective, but like when it comes to dating and everything, I want to marry, so it's like I'm very selective, one, and I want that stuff to last, and most like the bonds of a brother are supposed to last, right? My brothers didn't go anywhere, so when it comes to friends and like even thinking about a relationship, I don't want that person or people to go anywhere, right? I want them right there, and I want them rocking with me as hard as possible because that's all I had. My brothers were there. They were like literally ride or die because we grew up together. And that's all we had together, right? It was just us. We were only kids like around our neighborhood for real. We go to school and have fun with them, but then we come back home and it's us for another half of the day. We see each other on the bus and even sometimes at school and all that type of stuff, right? It was just us. Shared the same experiences and it made those bonds hard to replace. And I could see that. And that video helped me, see that. One of the videos. The other one, I didn't rewatch it, but I watched that one recently. Anyway, verse 24, he that hates dissembleth with his lips and lays up deceit within him. Whenever he speaks fair, don't believe him. There's seven abominations in his heart. And this is saying that he that hates, right? I'll get you with the other translations because I can't remember exactly the word, but I believe it's like he disguises it. Yeah, he who hates disguises it with his lips. He lays up deceit, right? So people are gonna pretend like they don't hate you. They're gonna be nice to your face and all that, but trust and believe the deceit is in their heart, right? They're gonna speak nice. They're gonna speak fairly. Don't believe them though, because there's 7 abominations in their heart. And I couldn't tell you why it's 7. I'm going to check the study guide and see if I can see why it's 7 specifically. It says the 7 abominations in his heart. 7 abominations is an abstraction for the full panoply. I've never heard of this word, or panoply.
Panoply.
A panoply. A complete or impressive collection of things, a splendid display. Right, a splendid display is what I think it's going for. 7 abominations is an abstraction for the full display of things of his wicked thoughts and deeds that utterly offend the moral sensibilities of the righteous. Right, and I definitely got the wrong meaning out of that, but even like this says, 7 abominations, right? 7 is generally seen as the godly number, right? It's the number of God, or that and like 12, right? So when it said righteous, I was like, wait, is this something that can deceive the righteous? They got 7 abominations. Maybe they're playing the role so well that a righteous person would see that and be like, oh my gosh, right? Because it's 7. They're like, oh, it's a 7 thing, so it's good, even though it's 7 abominations. So they're like, oh, they're saying these things and it's good, but really it's like, oh wait. And this even goes to say, yesterday or the day before, we were looking up how to tell people they're stupid secretly, because it was like funny just to see like the little like riddle type things people could come up with. And our favorite example or something like that: wisdom has always been chasing you, but you've always been faster. Meaning, wisdom has never caught you. You never caught wisdom. You don't have wisdom. You're dumb, right? And it was just funny. Like, I wouldn't really say that to somebody, but it was pretty funny. Anyway, so you get that, right? You get that. They got 7 abominations at the end of the day. Verse 26, whose hatred is covered by deceit, wickedness shall be shown before the whole congregation. Their hatred is covered by lies, right? If they hate you, it's like they murdered their brother, as Jesus said. So we shouldn't be surprised that they're lying. And their wickedness shall be shown. Eventually, it will be unveiled. How that happens, we don't know. When, we don't know. But you can rest assured it's going to be shown, whether that be before God or before actual humans. Verse 27, whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolls a stone, it will return upon him. Basically saying, what goes around comes around traditionally, right? These are observations from Solomon. They are not guarantees. Somebody murders your brother, it's not necessary, or it's not guaranteed they're going to get murdered too. However, something is bound to follow them, whether that be like jail time or whatever the case is. Verse 28, a lying tongue hates those that are afflicted by it, and a flattering mouth works ruin. I know the second part of that. Flattering mouth works ruin, right? If you're lying to a bunch of people, it's not going to end well, right? Flattering words cause ruin. I actually don't. No, we're going to check that. I don't know about that. But a lying tongue hates its victims. Facts. You think they can't handle the truth. You don't want them to grow. You don't think they're mature, and you don't think they can handle it. But the flattering words, let's check on that. Flattery is another way that the lying tongue brings ruin. The flattering mouth builds pride and manipulates others for deceptive goals. Heart of a matter is exposed in 28, that's chapter 28, I believe, with the fact that deceit, whether it hurts or soothes, a practical hatred, since truth is vital and pride is fatal to right decisions. False love proves to be true hatred. That's true. Pray for wisdom to discover the snare, for gracious principles to raise us up above vain praises, for self-denial, for the capacity to be content and thankful without such flatteries. This will be our security. So I understand it's the flattering mouth. People that are trying to butter you up to use you essentially is going to work ruin. I don't know for them. I don't know for you. Regardless, though, just pray to not be on the other side of it and pray that you don't fall into any of these traps because, like I said, our flesh likes sin and it's easy to fall into these and become addicted to them. All right, that's gonna be the end of the video. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.